darlings, and welcome to our second episode of Blood Bonding, the postseason show for ATL by Night. As a reminder, as with our previous episode of Blood Bonding, this show will have spoilers. As you can see, I have with me Ellie and Dustin, our storyteller, and our very own Bana Hakeem. Hi guys, how you doing tonight?
Fantastic.
I'm great. How are you?
We are very socially distant. We are all the way across, the metro from each other.
We are.
But yeah, how's your Tuesday going?
It's going pretty good. Working on more vampire projects actually.
You mentioned, I saw that on Twitter. Any ideas? Any hints?
I'll say at this point it is shaping up to be a community family project. So hopefully there will be some info coming soon on what it's going to be and who all in the family is involved at this first go around.
Okay, should be very interesting. Jumping into our first questions, we are actually going right back to Ellie. So somebody, I think it was Quinn, who may have asked, did you actually mine the fan Discord for Slaughter's interrogation of Anton?
Oh, a little bit. But it was also just I sat there and tried to think of every single possible question that Agaru would have for a vampire and then add 4 onto it that were the same thing. So
like a kid.
In my notes there is actually a list of 45 questions. So I had 45 prepared.
Can we get the list released?
I will work on releasing the list.
Follow-up. So Dustin, you've been a storyteller for years, DM for years. On a scale of 1 to 10, how scared were you when Ellie made it clear that y'all were going to be fighting Alessandra?
I mean, not really, because to me it's a good story element, and I look more at that. I don't know how the rest of the cast felt, but I was kind of like, I'm here for this. Let's do it. Let's get deep in the shadows and all the fun stuff.
Speaking of deep in the shadows, a lot of stuff happened off screen with Cyrus. We were only here physically for 1 episode of the season.
I was.
How many of the episodes were you texting Ellie during? Because I know at least one of them you were texting and live playing along from home.
I think it was just the one. A lot of the other stuff,
Yeah.
we did a lot of stuff just in between sessions and kind of figuring out where Cyrus was while the coterie was doing whatever they were doing and getting into his own shenanigans and, going along, doing his own thing. But as far as actually, I think it was just the one session that Cyrus was there in the scene, even though I wasn't physically there. So I wanted to make sure that, I still had input and Ellie didn't have to completely, marionette me or Jaeger me, if you
Thank
will.
God.
And yeah, that was a really, because that was during the Second Inquisition infiltration scene.
It was.
That you were texting. But yeah, and so it was mostly going back to the stuff that happened off camera. Cyrus lost an arm, right? Before the season started?
Yes.
So,
he lost an arm in a offshoot episode. That was part of what Dustin was saying, our little in-between sort of one-shots that we would do to cover what Cyrus was doing.
Gotcha. And so is that going to be aired, or is that something that is mostly in notes? Nope. Okay, got it. So
yeah,
I think some of the fans are interested.
We ended up, because I wasn't able to be in studio for most of the season, but I still wanted to be involved in the story, and I still wanted to make sure that Cyrus had a place. And Ellie and I talked, and we came up with the idea of doing these kind of in-between sessions, so that way it helped Ellie tell the story and kind of fill in some gaps with what Cyrus is doing and fill in some answers. Like the very first one was rescuing Dot. When session 1 or episode 1 of the second season. Oh God, where am I?
You
of
are on
the
Blood Bonding season.
am I? Oh man, I should totally not. All right, we're good now. Here we go. No, ended the cliffhanger of that first episode with, Hex walks in and directly behind it is Dot. Um, and so I immediately was like, oh man, I want Cyrus to be the one to have gotten Dot. And so we talked about it, and we had this really intense session where Cyrus, we literally played a one-on-one session, and Cyrus took out 4 La Sombra and lost an arm in the process, burned a mall down in the process, like he does, and got Dot back.
So as per usual, it was Cyrus who started the fire.
Oh yeah, of course, absolutely, 100%. 100%.
So someone asked this for Ellie, but I think I could really go for both of you since you're both storytellers, you're both involved in World of Darkness games. What is it about vampire lore, just general vampire lore, that most interests you? Like, what facet of vampire lore is the one that most is interesting to you?
So for me, it's the humanity of it. Um, because it seems like a common thread of all vampire lore is the struggle to maintain humanity. Because if you're just out being a monster, they're gonna kill you pretty quick. So that internal struggle with your own personal humanity and like just trying to get through day to day and not become the monster has always been the fascinating thing for me.
Yeah, same for me. I also love the politics of vampire. Where other TTRPGs are very much like go on quest, adventure, kill the monster, get the loot. Vampire is very much about how am I going to survive day to day in the political game as well as the supernatural world itself. But I mean, your best friend in your coterie could stab you in the back just as quick as a rival, Anarch or Camarilla or Sabat or whatever, depending on how that clan, if they're rivaling clans, then it could easily, and to me that pushes the story element so much through the World of Darkness, and the history of like the World of Darkness lore is just amazing, and the years of history built to where we are with V5 and all of the history that led up to this, I think it's fascinating, and I love
Absolutely.
the history.
Absolutely.
Is there something from like external to Vampire the Masquerade? Is there some piece of vampire mythology that you'd like to see in Vampire the Masquerade that you haven't seen yet?
I don't know. I
I
feel
don't
like
know.
vampire really covers so much of it. Like there's really a little bit of every single piece of lore in it, and I think that's part of what has made it work all this time is that no
Yeah.
matter what you like about vampire media, you can find it in vampire.
Yeah, and it's one of the facets of Vampire the Masquerade that I like, because it's like there's kind of that whole, yeah, the lore you get from the movies. Well, guess what? In the World of Darkness, vampires own most of the movie studios and run, and so they're putting out what they want the lore to be to kind of deviate the mortals to believe what they want to believe. Because like for most vampires, garlic doesn't do anything. Crosses don't do anything. There are those flaws that do add those aspects in, but for the most part, it's not there. And so I think it's really neat that the World of Darkness kind of have built their own brand of mythology and
Yeah.
lore into the not just the vampires, but into all of the supernatural beasts of mythology from all over the board.
That actually built into another question that someone wanted to ask Ellie. Let me see where I had it written down. It was. There we go. This season, we introduced more than just vampires. We introduced the Garu as well. How do you absorb the lore and mechanics of other World of Darkness systems into the Vampire the Masquerade system for the purpose of this stream?
So that's kind of the cool thing about World of Darkness. If you really delve into it, World of Darkness has the Storyteller system. So all of these games are kind of meant to be interwoven with each other. They're built with the express ability to interweave them together. So for Werewolf, I really only have to look up the lore that I've missed, the lore that I've forgotten, and then gameplay wise, it's pretty much the same. So it's pretty easy to work them together.
Fair enough. Let's see, what are some other good ones we have? So Ellie and I had talked a few times about unexpected player actions. Are there any, or what was your favorite plot twist this season, or which ones caught you by surprise the most?
Ooh, I gotta think back and remember what happened this season.
So at the beginning of the season, I think what the beginning of the season was, I think, that first meeting with Mooney, and then everyone lost everything they had acquired. And then Aaron, and that was after Aaron drank tainted blood that we now know was a somber blood. And then at the end of it, Anton beheaded the prince.
So I think for me, honestly, like most of because through our off screen, Cyrus actually knew a lot about what was happening from the Second Inquisition, the Giovanni house. Like Cyrus had been all of there before the coterie had even gotten there. Cyrus is the reason the coterie knew about the Second Inquisition building and where Aaron was taken. But I think for me, the biggest reveal was the Giovanni Mooney. Was it Mooney? I think, yeah, the Mooney reveal that Mooney was a Giovanni, and I was like, ooh, that's good.
That was a great reveal.
Yeah, that I think that plot twist was what really like got me. Ooh, I like where this is going. Oh, that's nasty.
Yeah, because what a lot of people don't know is that werewolves can only be born; they can't be made. And so in every birth of a werewolf, unless it's two werewolves together and that's a whole thing, but it's usually a werewolf and a human, and then you have like a certain percentage that you might not ever actually turn into a werewolf. So turning into a werewolf comes kind of at random. So like it could happen when you're 10, it could happen when you're 30, it can happen when you're in your mid 30s having dinner with your husband and child.
That feels like a very specific reference.
I mean, Mooney said it in the finale, but twist-wise, for me, the entire Second Inquisition plot was not supposed to happen until season 3. But they pushed it, and when the police officers came to the house, everything that Anton and Thomasina did, I was sitting behind the storyteller screen just like fiddling with a D10 just frantically because it was like, oh no, they've set it off. They've set off the whole Second Inquisition plot. And I was just panicking like, oh, everything's about to go real bad real quick.
But you know what? It ended up making for great live play sessions. Like it was incredibly fun to watch and incredibly fun to keep up with.
Yeah, it was extremely fun to storytell, but that was my favorite twist because that's the way that the coterie surprises me is when they do things that I just have not accounted for. You can plan 100 years and you'll never plan perfectly against your players.
So what you're saying is you would need to be kindred in order to plan perfectly against your players.
And even then it doesn't work. The Camarillo's fallen before.
So we asked this of Leona and Brittany last episode, and I know that you were mostly watching through the stream, but for both of you, whose look, either real or described, was your favorite look all season?
Mel's werewolf rave look, and then seconded by Thomasina's masquerade look.
Both good looks.
Aaron's prison look. I mean, come on. Those orange scrubs. Come on now.
So
I mean, Tyler did his own like veiny neck makeup. It was really cool.
And the shadowed eyes, like yeah, he looked. I was just, if there hadn't been a pandemic, I'd have been like, I just want to hug you, baby. Come here, it'll be okay.
We all have that feeling about Aaron.
That's true.
Yeah, I love
we-
Tyler's. I love everybody's commitment to the characters, but yeah, Tyler showing up in like everyone that one episode, everyone's wearing black, and then you have the bright orange over here. And for a second, I was watching. I was like, why is? It's like that's not his. And then I was like, oh Tyler, you genius! I love you so much.
Ooh, Dustin, obviously you weren't physically there. I don't know if you picked up on how many humanity points everyone had, but Ellie, whose dice count were you most excited to see the coterie and the fans react to?
I was honestly really excited for Thomasina's, because just knowing how low hers is and letting the fans get to hear how low her number is
And
was just
last
amazing.
Episode, it started lower.
Yeah.
She actually has increased.
She actually gained a point.
Like.
So, do we know? If you want to share, so what is Cyrus's humanity score?
I don't want to give an exact number because I very much am I like the suspense of the story revealing things about that. It is not high, I will say, and that's pretty.
That's putting it mildly.
From his actions, I mean, he makes.
We've watched you commit like 6 diableries. Is there any left?
Whoa.
I think we've only watched him commit 2, but we know about more.
I mean, Banu Hakim, man, that's what they do. Trying to reach that enlightenment.
So you mentioned that, and actually someone wanted to know, where was it? It's in my notes, if I can find it. It was something like, did you have in mind, there we go. What made you decide on Banu Hakim in character creation? Like, what led to that decision?
I kind of always knew that I was gonna be a Banu Hakim. Cyrus has been a character concept I've had for a while, and I don't get to play a lot of World of Darkness and Vampire, and so when the opportunity came around to join the cast, I was like, I definitely think I want to play this character, and he has an interesting past, and I'm excited for more of it to come out. I teased it a little bit on the one session I came here, or I was actually at the table for, but yeah, I knew that I wanted to do Banu Hakim because I wanted to play the dark assassin kind of, try to get as far from my own personality as possible. Character.
And that was actually something someone asked, is how do you maintain playing in character as someone polar opposite to your personality?
I mean, I'm not I wouldn't call myself an actor, but I am a role player. I'm a LARPer, and it's just
you're an actor. Stop that.
I'm not an actor, but here's my IMDb.
my IMDb is full of crew, not acting.
Yeah, that's fair.
But no, it's just it's a headspace, just like anything. To get in Cyrus's headspace, I have to basically just sit by myself in the pitch quietness, like absolute just nothing, to kind of really get into his emotionless head state, because I'm a goofball, I'm all charisma, and Cyrus is not any of those.
That's part of what makes it so easy to storytell for all of you, is that you're playing so like against type that it's easy to just kind of like fall into telling the story for you guys, because the characters are very real, because we try very hard not to break, but there's still some funny moments. But just this cast is really good at staying in character, so it makes my job really easy.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen, I think maybe once or twice that I've seen someone break character while y'all were in play. It hasn't been often. Let's see. So, can I do those? So who has been your favorite NPC to play this season? Because I know we've talked about it last season, but your favorite this season, I'm narrowing it down. And for Dustin, who's been your favorite NPC to either see Ellie play or to interact with in your own offline sessions?
For me, favorite to play is a toss up between Mooney or Dot. I always have fun as Dot, but Mooney is a lot of fun because
Mooney's my type. I
it's
would.
it's been like 10 years since I've played werewolf, so
I would buy that woman a drink.
um and honestly, Slaughter was really fun because Slaughter is based off of my friend Hope Lavelle, who is not a lot like Slaughter, but she has that bubbly, sunny side. So it's a lot of fun to just be this hyper version of Hope. Um, but yeah, toss it between Dot and Mooney just because of the complexity of them, and then anything with Tilly is constantly fun. It's immensely fun. Because I've just played a Malkavian for so long that anytime I get to play a Malkavian makes me happy.
I hope someone's posting the squish gif right now.
Squish.
My favorite one to watch is definitely Slaughter. Like I stand Slaughter so much. Oh man.
Well, and you know Hope too. So.
I do know Hope. Hope is a good friend of mine as well, and I had, it was funny because I didn't know that it was based off Hope, and I was like, man, I'm getting such big Hope vibes here. And then you were like, based off of Hope, and I was like, yep, totally could see that. But it's no, it's that, and then probably my favorite one to interact with is Dot. Cyrus and Dot have a very fun dynamic. A lot of it hasn't been seen on camera, so I'm excited to get that on camera.
Fingers crossed we get you back at the table soon.
I'm very excited to do Cyrus and Dot on camera because the way their dynamic has grown has been just a joy to watch. And I realize we're talking about Hope, but for those who don't know Hope, she's on D&D Beyond's stream Beyond Heroes. So she plays the halfling. So if you see a little redhead on D&D Beyond, that's our Hope, and we love her.
Right?
She is. Penelope Halfpint is the character's name. Yeah.
Yep. There we go. It's like I couldn't remember the name, but I remember the art with the little itty bitty covered in twigs and leaves and stuff.
Yep.
So we know Cyrus isn't the warm fuzzy type. Everyone this season we saw give up something of their current life. So we saw Mel give up her CNN job and the lifestyle she'd established. We saw Thomasina give up being a superintendent. Anton gave up school. Aaron gave up being a police officer. Did Cyrus have to give up anything related to everything that went on?
No, Cyrus isn't dumb.
Yeah, Cyrus lost nothing. Cyrus lost nothing in this.
Ooh, shots fired. Yeah. Ooh.
If anything, Cyrus gained a house and a car.
Yeah, I got a house and a car. Like, what? I'm living the life right now.
Actually, and that brings up a question. So Cyrus didn't get, I don't think Cyrus got a horse, is what has been implied.
Cyrus didn't get a horse, but he did get a Mustang.
Yeah, he did.
Hey.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, that's good. Well done.
That was my own fun pun. Because I was like, well, there's only 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, but there are Mustangs.
So, building on that, is there anything Cyrus would have liked to give up related to his current lifestyle and life?
Not really.
So he does like the coterie.
I mean, he hasn't really changed anything. Nothing's really changed for him. There has been some character growth, but not. There's not much of a former life to give up.
That's the nature of the Banu Hakim.
Oh. Like I said, I can talk a little bit about it because I did reveal a little bit of it on the episode I was, and he does not know anything of his past life. His life started when he was embraced, and the only thing he remembers is waking up in a Banu Hakim facility. That's all I'm gonna say on it. But yeah, so like so his not understanding, I guess, what's the words I'm looking for?
Social norms.
No, social norms and pop culture. Like he doesn't. That's why it's like Dark Knight. Yeah, it's always night in dark time. I don't know why. It's dark at night. Yeah, why? So yeah, he doesn't get those all the references, which is really fun to play that, because I love puns, I love quips, I love to be quippy, and so to have to not be reactive to any of the other coteries like quirks and like pop culture references, and try to take that and turn it around into a Drax style of not of like taking it at face value and not understanding the what
Oh
the
yeah.
joke is. It's a lot of fun.
Oh yeah. I know Ellie is just like dying inside right now because she's probably just thinking about a character in a D&D campaign who I play that is exactly the same way.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it has caused problems once or twice, which is great. But let's see. What interesting question. Does Cyrus have any thoughts or feelings toward the Renashri Camarilla? Because it's obviously the first time a Renashri Camarilla existed. Did he know about it before the rest of the coterie, or is he finding out sort of in line with them?
He's finding out with them. He has never heard of it. I don't know how he feels about it yet. He it he's so far attached from the politics of Camarilla, Anarch, whatever. It's all about the contract for him. It's all about his next mission. It's all about he in himself is a weapon. So as point and click, like point him in a direction and fire him off. And so for him, it's like, if this is the will of his current liaison, then it is, like, so be it. Like, sure, if you want to have elections, I don't care. It doesn't bother me any. Who am I killing next?
And so the Banu Hakim aren't normally considered part of the Camarilla, even when they work with the Camarilla. Is he even eligible to vote?
So,
I
per
don't know.
per the Renashri Camarilla, he... this isn't a spoiler, so I can say that. Dot can grant him a vote.
Okay, that's interesting. That was something I was wondering, because everyone else obviously is already part of the Atlanta Camarilla.
Well, and it's because currently he does hold the position of Scourge. So while the Banu Hakim are not officially aligned, he was granted a position, which grants him a vote.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, but
Very
spoilers, he's
interesting.
probably not going to vote because he just doesn't care.
And as a reminder, I know we announced it earlier this week, but we do have Renashri Camarilla glasses available at Rusted Icon website. I think it's rusted-icon.net.
I know. I need to get mine because
they are so beautiful.
I'm gonna be drinking something out of that.
They're so very pretty. And I was talking to Ellie about getting a copy of the Renashri Camarilla logo that we can turn into an emoji at some point, because hopefully...
Working on it. I have a special Renashri Camarilla thing in the works at the moment that will go up on the website when it's done.
Ooh, that's exciting.
It's, I'll say for our blood bonding audience, I am working on making and then scanning in the actual decree of the Renashri Camarilla.
Oh, that's cool. That's really cool.
I'm very excited about it.
That sounds super fun.
It's awesome. Super awesome.
And then, oh, here we go. So we talked about the plot twist a little bit. Ellie, which character decisions from the players are the ones, other than the Second Inquisition storyline, that took you the most by surprise?
For one, Mel kicking in the vent in the Second Inquisition facility, that surprised me. And then
Edward Junk Drawer Hands.
Edward Junk Drawer Hands.
That was a great. I had to keep myself from laughing so hard.
I fell out of my chair laughing. I was laughing.
That was so hard to keep it together. It really was. Mel is such a gift. I just adore Brittany to my very soul. I think everyone has had moments that have been my favorite. Like, Thomasina just has these quips and these moments that are just brilliant. And then Aaron singing Dolly Parton in the Inquisition facility.
But that was genius.
That
That's a smart
broke
move.
my heart. I was not prepared for that. You know, the conversation, I think, like, collectively, my favorite moment with everyone was everyone finding the basement of the house for the first time.
Yeah.
Because I think every DM knows those moments, every DM and storyteller, where you're sitting there going, just climb in the shelf and push the button. Just climb in and push the button.
Well, that's what you always need, a chaos monkey in the party. You always need a
That's what
chaos
I trust
monkey.
Anton to
That's
be.
but it's one of those things where it's like if you don't have a chaos monkey, nothing is going to move the plot forward. But speaking of chaos monkey, were there moments where you expected chaos that the coterie did not cause chaos?
So my notes for the werewolf club contained so many what ifs. I had about 15 scenarios written down of, if they decide to do this, this is going to happen, because I was so prepared for utter chaos to break out, or for them to say something insulting, or for just because, they were completely outnumbered. So I was prepared for multiple barroom brawls, multiple insults, and bad situations. There were other NPCs that didn't even get elaborated on. We didn't really get to talk to
Big Stony.
Mooney's other bodyguard, and they're really cool. So I expected a lot more chaos at the werewolf rave, but everyone was really on their best behavior.
Obviously,
Probably
we
for the
just
best.
needed a Banu who came there to start a fire.
Whoa. 95% of the time, it is justified.
I thought you were going to say 95% of the time it's not started by a Banu who came.
Oh no, it's me. It's always me.
Let's see. Someone wanted to know, I think it might have been Tyler actually. How do you prepare for episodes? Do you go in wanting certain scenes or exchanges, or do you just react? And that goes for, obviously, I know you do a lot of planning, Ellie, but that applies to more like NPC interactions if someone does something unexpected as well.
When I plan for an NPC, I typically just I write their basic body description, um, basic demeanor and voice, just so I have the cue for myself. And then I'll usually write like 5 or 6 lines of something they would say, just so I have ideas of how they talk. And then preparing for an episode, I generally will make myself a playlist for the vibe that I want for that episode, and then I go with that.
Oh, that's fun. Dustin, this is you too.
Oh,
this is for both of you. Sorry.
No, it's okay. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's to me, it's I get in Cyrus's headspace, and then it's I react. Like
you mentioned lock yourself in a dark box.
Yeah, I mean, it's improv. It's yes, and it's playing off of the other characters. It's coming up with a way to throw wrenches at Ellie, things like that. No.
So many wrenches.
Hey, not a lot of wrenches for me this year or this season.
That's true. That's true.
I don't know. The Dot rescue mission didn't exactly go as planned.
Dot got rescued. That was the plan.
It was successful, and I left with my arm in hand.
Literally.
And you know what? We needed that mall gone anyway.
Yeah.
Is it that mall up in Buckhead?
No.
Because we do need that mall gone.
But no, it was it's just that's pretty much it. I think if I'd like to talk about the some of the off-air sessions, since I don't know if it'll ever get brought up. Kind of let everyone
go
know
ahead.
what
I would
Cyrus
love to hear about
was
it.
up to. Like I said, the first one was the rescue dot mission. It was finding out reaching out through contacts, finding out where I think she would be, tracking her down, and kind of going, maybe using a power or a discipline that Cyrus doesn't know he has yet, that may have come up from certain diablerie actions that led to a specific place.
Oh, interesting.
And then the rescue of Dot was successful, if not chaotic, but I mean that's kind of Cyrus's style. Guns first, ask questions later.
I'll say since all of the Primogen got rescued and we don't get to see Cyrus's, so all of the Primogen were locked up with La Sombra clearly, but they were in multiple warded cages and staked according to their importance. So Olivia, I think in my notes it says Olivia had 28 stakes in her. Yeah, so they were in these kind of like the nesting dolls of cages that were each locked.
I was gonna say she would just look like a pincushion at that point.
Yep.
Like
Olivia was very much a pincushion.
Or what's that Hellraiser monster with all the
Pinhead.
Pinhead.
But yeah, so they were all heavily under lock and key with La Sombra guards, and Cyrus got to get Dot, and they were hidden in random locations. I think my list of location notes I can probably put in our Discord. But Dot was inside of a fridge in a food court place of an old abandoned mall.
Yep. Yeah, and
so no one was gonna find her.
Yeah, nope.
Especially just in that back corner.
I mean,
all the buckets
in Atlanta, we had a dead body in a mall food court, and no one found it for 2 weeks. So.
Oh God, that's true. That was like a couple of years ago, wasn't it?
Yep.
So yeah, and in a fight when La Sombra go full shadow, there's really only one way to make sure that they're dead, and that's fire. It just so happened that the mall is old and run down and a lot of dry rot, so bad casualties of war, it happens. But successfully got out with that, got in touch with Hex and transfer, yada yada yada. And then I think the next one, we established that when Cyrus wasn't keeping an eye on the target that he is constantly looking at through a scope, that he is keeping an eye on the coterie and making sure they stay out of trouble. I think it was the next one that we played out was the following Aaron's dealer, and that led to, and that's what led to the Second Inquisition.
That's how you got the SI maps, right?
Yes.
Yep. So from there, Cyrus followed him to the compound in Conyers, snuck in through the ventilation shafts, and basically scouted the entire building, mapping out the area for Dot, and then coming out, not engaging at the time because suicide mission, because Second Inquisition, and then following that person back to the Atlanta Police Department, which is how it was revealed that this dealer was actually Second Inquisition and also a cop that works with Aaron. That was revealed to Aaron, so I can say that without spoiling anything. And that kind of was how they got the map. That's how they got all the info. That's how they knew where everything was. And then from there, he went to the Giovanni house, scoped it out. He didn't find the basement, so that's why Cyrus didn't know about the basement, because he just looked to make sure that there was nothing in there, and then that was that.
Yeah.
You following Aaron's dealer was one of my favorite things, because I was downstairs when we were playing that game trying to stay very quiet, because Zach, who plays Anton, was upstairs, and when Dustin hit the reveal, you yelled out something about it, and I was like, shh. I was freaking out, don't let him hear you. And that just cracked me up because you freaked, and I was just like, shh.
Yeah, I think it was along the lines of, "God damn it, Aaron, why are you so fucking stupid?" It was the more exact thing is what I shout out. You know,
But that's those, like those storyteller moments when you make your players just lose their shit.
yeah.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. So I'm gonna go a little off book here because I have like one more question that I want to ask, but I want that to be closer to the end. So this upcoming election, we realized that, or rather, Leona, Brittany, and you and I were talking. You, Ellie, and I were talking after the episode last week, and you hadn't actually confirmed that. Wow, I have lost everyone's names.
Elijah and Alpha.
Thank you. You hadn't actually confirmed that Elijah and Alpha had been nominated. I was like, Thin Blood Primogen, Gangrel guy. Why can't I remember? So, but yeah, you hadn't actually confirmed in show whether Elijah and Alpha had been nominated or if there were any other nominees.
So that is going to pick up at the start of the season with who the official nominees are.
Mm-hmm.
I've got some vignettes planned that will cover some other nominees. Alpha is going to run. We know that from his personality. Elijah has not been formally nominated, but he is a very wanted one. And now that Olivia is home, we'll see how she feels about it.
Yeah, because I'm going to try and word this carefully. I'm not calling Elijah a mama's boy, but he does kind of defer to his mother on some of the larger decisions, especially politically. And I think that has a lot to do with him being a thin blood, but also how respected Olivia is.
Well, and a lot of it, and I can kind of hint because we'll get into it in season 3. The reason that Elijah is a thin blood is why he puts so much trust in his mom and why he follows her, because he is her biological son, but clearly not her childer.
And I think you mentioned that last season during blood bonding as well. I think we talked about it. So I'm really interested to see Elijah's backstory. I think a lot of the audience is really interested to see Elijah's backstory as much as possible. So asking Dustin, if Cyrus gets to vote or if Cyrus chooses to vote, who would he vote for? And Ellie, if you could vote, if you weren't the storyteller telling the story, if you could vote in the Prince election, who would you two vote for?
Cyrus.
So I will. Cyrus is not going to vote. He doesn't give two shits about an election. But if I were to base it off of who would the candidates would be, he would vote for Alpha. 100%.
I too, personally, as Ellie, I would vote for Alpha.
Interesting.
Alpha has a very pragmatic approach, and we do have someone that hopefully, if the world is less on fire, will actually be joining us as Alpha. And I think once everyone gets to fully meet Alpha, instead of me doing my best to imitate his actor,
I know.
I think you guys will see a lot about Alpha. I think Alpha's pragmatic approach to everything is more needed.
That's true. That's true. There is a lot of that. Will Cyrus campaign for anyone?
Again, he like he didn't give two craps about that. He's like he doesn't care about politics. Like any mm-hmm. of like Dustin loves the political game of Vampire. Cyrus is like, I don't care. At some point I'm gonna put a bullet through your head. It doesn't matter who you are. Someone is gonna want you dead, and I'm going to.
Cyrus just wants to kill everyone. Just, normal things.
It is the Banu Hakim way.
That's true. So I have run out of questions at this point. We've only got a couple minutes left. So is there anything Dustin, that you wanted to ask Ellie? I'm gonna put you on the spot.
I don't think so. I mean, we stay in contact a lot. We
do a lot of conspiring behind the scenes.
Yeah. I am a storyteller as well, so I like to push the the story along. And so I definitely talk to Ellie, and a lot of the decisions I make with Cyrus I make a decision one in his character, but at the same time something that I think will be interesting for the story and will push the story forward. And I think a lot of that is hopefully going to come out more in season 3. Like, who is Amanda Gilbert? Why is Cyrus so interested in getting information of her? Who is the person that he is constantly looking at through a scope? So on and so forth. There are a lot of questions that I was hoping to answer this season, but obviously due to scheduling and the world on fire, wasn't able to get the 2. But no matter what happens next season, if the world is still on fire and things are still the same and I can't make it in person, I will continue to do off camera stuff. We'll talk about possibly setting it up to record to air those episodes. If that is something that the fans want, then obviously then Ellie and I will talk, and we will 100% do what we can to make those accessible to the fans. If that is something that we think that they'll like, then yeah, absolutely. Because we are as fun as it is, we are a show, and we don't do this just for ourselves. We have an audience, we have fans, and we definitely want to make the fans a part of the story as well. So
which actually, speaking of that, because with season 3, with us having this big election, I wanted to involve all of the fans in the show on this. So once all of the candidates are announced, when it's time for the election, we will have a section of our website go live where you, the fans, will get to vote on the prince, and whoever wins the fan election will be the prince going forward.
Ooh, neat. I like that.
Yeah, no, that's going to be fun. So get your botnets ready.
Oh no, I'm gonna fix that part of it. But yes, the fans will 100% decide the new Prince of Atlanta.
That's going to be a lot of fun. Speaking of the fans getting content, so we know that, Ellie, you did some gaming streams earlier in the year as well. You did a Vampire the Masquerade stream, and you did a Coteries of New York stream. Do we have any other gaming streams that are coming up from you?
Oh god, yeah. Because World of Darkness has so many video games coming out, I will be playing Werewolf the Apocalypse Earthblood. I'm going to try to play Wraith. I am a chicken, so we'll see how that goes. I'm going to be playing Shadows of New York when that comes out. I will be playing, what's the other werewolf one? There's a second werewolf game. I'll be playing Vampire the Masquerade Swan Song. Essentially, every official video game that comes out from World of Darkness, I will be playing on our official channel. And then fans have been sending me vampire games, just like vampire-based games. Like, I might throw in Blood Rain for a couple days to have some fun. So there will be more gaming streams. They'll all at least be official World of Darkness games or vampire-based.
And Blood Rain threw me back to, like, my teenage years.
Right?
I wasn't old enough to play Blood Rain when it came out.
Heart of the Forest. Someone put in the chat. The other werewolf game is Heart of the Forest.
Oh, awesome. Thank you. And then, oh god, I had another question that I just thought of. Any other announcements for the fans? I know we have the Renasherie Camarilla glasses that we announced earlier this week. Did we have any other merch coming up or any other...
So we have a Renasherie Camarilla shirt in the store. We have a regular logo shirt. We have more shirts coming at request of the people who followed my Kindred the Embrace live tweeting. We will have a shirt that says I'm only here because of flimsy sunlight rules. And
who is Amanda Gilbert shirt? I feel like it's like a who is John
who is
Galt
Amanda
type
Gilbert? Who killed Laura Palmer? And then the community project. Hopefully, I will be releasing more information about that soon. I want to get the first round of it in the can before we put it out, so then that way we kind of have all the kinks worked out, and then it will open to the broader community at large to join this. I'm very excited about it. There's some really cool people that have agreed to be a part of it, so I'm super, super, super excited about it. I'll have more information when I have it.
Fair enough. That's a lot of information, though. That's a bit to go on. And then, Dustin, I know I can't remember. I think I saw D4 was still streaming, but it's all remotely now. It's all on webcams.
Yeah, we're remote.
Or...
We'll be remote until the world calms down. But yeah, we're every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern time on twitch.tv/rockpunch ATL.
And any other upcoming projects that we could expect you in?
I don't have any upcoming projects. I do have an announcement for this upcoming Sunday. We actually have a guest DM who is taking over the game, and it is B. Dave Walters, aka
that's cool,
the undisputed Baron of the Valley from LA by Night. Will be taking the helm of the BFGs and D4, and Devin and I are co-DMing a Darkened Wish, which is his game on the official D&D channel, and so we will be kind of doing a DM swap of shows, which should be a lot.
Yeah, like the wife swap of TTRPGs.
Yeah.
And you'll be on the super secret community project once I send you a message about it.
Oh, hey, all right, hey.
Do you get to send like the party a letter about how you hope their lives have improved by your? That was like way deep reference.
That's a deep cut. That's a deep cut.
I'm sorry.
I don't know if improved is the word I would use for what we're planning, but I mean, yeah, sure, improved.
Wife Swap was a terrible show. Never watch it. But I think we are getting close to our time.
I actually have a question for Dustin, since
go ahead.
That I just thought of, because you are also a storyteller. What World of Darkness franchise that I haven't put in the show yet do you want me to put in the show?
Ooh, man, there's so many.
Yeah, there's like 12.
I know. You've kind of started to tease Wraith a little bit, which I am super excited about with ghosts and whatnot. I would love to see. Honestly, I would love to see some hunters on top of second exposition, because I think that would be freaking amazing. I would hate it so much, but man, that would be so fun. On top of that, mage, like throwing a mage in the hat would be, oh man.
Well, because Mooney, I say because Mooney has hinted that she's already made treaties with all these other types of people in Atlanta.
And then I personally, my favorite World of Darkness is Demon. I love Demon and the like fallen angel aspect of it, which is such a cool concept. But we'll see what comes out with 5th edition, because to me the like World of Darkness 5th edition is just so good, and the changes that they've made have really made the game and the story better.
Honestly, that was a big part of holding back a little bit on the werewolves, because we are getting Werewolf 5th edition, and
with so many amazing writers writing it. Oh my god.
Oh, the crew for it is so good, and I can't wait to see what they make. So I wanted to hold back a little bit on the werewolves, to leave breathing room for Werewolf V5.
Of course, absolutely.
And then, do either of you have theories, you for the players, Ellie, and you for Ellie, Dustin, for what's going to happen next season?
I'm excited to see what happens with Alejandro, the Alhambra, who is very old, and I cannot wait to eat his heart.
Ooh, I feel like that's the type of meal that's going to have side
Cyrus
effects.
needs Sombra powers, so like I need me some shadow manipulating powers. Like, come on. So it's a happening. Spoilers, Cyrus will be Diablo-izing Alhambra.
I'm very excited for y'all to see more of Alejandro. Personally, I can't wait for the coterie and the cast and the fans and everyone to meet a lot of the guests that we have coming, which I will tease announce here. But we have officially cast Hex. Hex will be officially joining the coterie in season 3.
It's very exciting.
I'm so excited. She is absolutely wonderful. I'm so thrilled, and so that's my big anticipation, is seeing her growth and joining the coterie and seeing the whole group grow together.
Yeah, and adding to the family. And then, this is just a really important question that I think everyone needs an answer to. Is Alejandro Vatty?
Alejandro is absolutely Vatty. Alejandro's look, for anyone that wants to Google, I think it was mentioned last episode. His look is actually a young Christopher Lee picture that I found that was just very attractive. So Alejandro is based off young Christopher Lee.
Have your drinks ready because you're going to be thirsty. And with that, we come to the end of our time. As a reminder, we do have the Lost Childer Play Guide on atlbynight.net. So go ahead and go pick that up if you want to incorporate the Lost Childer from ATL by Night into your own game. We have our Renashere Camarilla glasses at rusted-icon.net. That's rusted-icon.net. And I'm sure there will be a link in the Twitch chat while we're saying this. The Lost Childer Play Guide also has a lore sheet, backgrounds, relationship maps, extra characters, and special aspects and bonus to implement during your game. And then make sure you join our Discord. Hopefully there's a link in the chat right now. And follow us on social media on Instagram and Twitter at ATL by Night and Facebook.com/ATL by Night. And if you'd like more ATL by Night content, make sure to subscribe on Twitch or follow on Twitch so that you can get our notifications. And I think that's all for the announcements at the end of this episode. Thank you for joining me. And I hope you guys have a lovely rest of your week. And then next week, we have Anton and Aaron joining us for our last episode of Season 2 of Blood Bonding.
Bye, everyone.
Good night.